I call the Monday, September 16th, 2024 meeting of the Louisa County Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. Barlow?
I move that we convene in closed session pursuant to the following subsections of Virginia Code 2.2 3711. 2. In accordance with Section 2 3711A5, discussion concerning a prospective business or industrial expansion of an existing business or industry relating to the mineral district where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating and expanding its facilities in the community. And number 3, in accordance with Section 2.2 3711A7, consultation with legal counsel and briefing by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiation or litigating posture of the public body. And number 4, in accordance with Section 2.2 3711A8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. And number 5, in accordance with Section 2.2 3711A39, discussion or consideration of information subject to the exclusion in subdivision 3 of subsection 2.2 3705.6, proprietary records and trade secrets related to economic development.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and second. We go into closed session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in closed session.
Mr. Chair, I move we go back into open session.
Been properly moved and seconded, we go back into open session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I will now poll members to certify that to the best of your knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and is identified in the motion for which the closed meeting was convened were discussed and considered by the board. If any member believes that the board varied from the purposes stated for the closed meeting, please state so in the reason prior to casting a vote. Mr. McCotter?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Barlow?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Woodward?
Yes.
Well, we're back into open session. This is the Monday, September 16th meeting of the Louisa County Board of Supervisors. I would like to welcome those of you who are in attendance here in the public meeting room and those that are watching on the live stream. We will start today's meeting as we do at every meeting with the invocation tonight by Mr. Williams, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to join us, please stand.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. Father, we thank you for the strength you've given us to come here, for the ability to serve the citizens of Louisa County. Father, we thank you most of all for your Son, Jesus Christ, who you sent to die on a cross for us so that we may spend eternal life with you, Father. Father, we ask that you come in and dwell over these proceedings tonight. May the things we do and serve the citizens and be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we adopt the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is approval of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we approve the bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next is recognitions. We don't have any formal recognition tonight, but I do see we have Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts here with us, so welcome to the Boy Scouts. Nice to see you here. We do have, and I was going to make this recognition, this is personal recognition. My granddaughter is here for the first time. She watches this on the live stream, but she's here tonight, so say hi to her. She always says, "Poppy, that looks so exciting," and I bet she leaves before the meeting's over, so we'll see. So now is the public comment period. This is a time for any citizen to address the board on any item that is not a public hearing. We don't have any public hearings tonight. I don't have any cards, so no one has signed up for the public comment period, but is there anyone here tonight that wish to address the board on any subject? All right, so seeing none, I'll close the public comment period. We'll go into our information discussion items. First is our quarterly update from VDOT, and I do know that Mr. Thornton is here, our resident engineer. Mr. Thornton.
Mr. Chairman, while Mr. Thornton's coming up to the podium, I'll just note that the VDOT report is on page 495 of your packet if you all want to follow along.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, board members.
So, or afternoon, evening, I'm off today. So our maintenance crews have been working on maintenance and roadside throughout the county. So our ditching with DMI is set to resume in the spring. That is the self-loading truck that we've had that contractor in for most of the summer and started in the spring of this year. So we're giving them the winter off, and they will come back in the spring to resume in the Zion Crossroads area. Both of our primary and secondary cuts have been complete. We do have one more cut scheduled. That'll happen towards November of the year. That'll be our final cut until next spring. Our scheduled resurfacing work has been completed. There is some pavement marking and rumble strip installation ongoing. That'll be ongoing through the end of October. Some of you have asked me individually, that contract has a fixed completion date of November the 1st, so they're not out of contract yet. So that work is ongoing. Majority of the traffic studies are still ongoing. However, the 522 trucks entering highway sign, Mr. Barlow, that was one that you had asked for. That sign is up and installed. And then the Louisa speed limit sign coming into town here, Mr. Woodward, that one is in stock and scheduled to be installed in the next couple of weeks. So those signs are on the way. Where's Crossroads Roundabout? We are looking at a final walkthrough, weather permitting, of September the 25th. So they are working on final paving and getting that scheduled. So that was originally scheduled for a December completion date, so they're quite a bit ahead of schedule, assuming we hit that September 5th or 25th walkthrough date. Hamilton Road Bridge, just wanted to give a brief update from that. At our after our last stakeholders meeting, there were some questions about easements and things like that around the area, so we reached out to the National Park Service. We received a response back from them last week, and they have determined that at this time the proposed project is not a federal undertaking, and they're just simply requesting at this time to be kept in the loop, the same as any property owner with an abutting parcel. So we don't have anything, we're not showing any improvements that would impact the hard bargain easement, and the bridge is not located on the easement. So at this time, they're just wanting to be involved. So we plan to have some internal meetings and then resume the stakeholder meetings. The next one was originally scheduled for October the 17th. So we're looking to hold that date, but we're going to reach out to all the stakeholders and make sure that date, it still works for everybody. And then upcoming, on October the 3rd, the residency is going to be hosting all of our localities for the Transportation Alternative and Revenue Sharing Project Progress Meeting. And that's basically where we're going to discuss with localities and planning staff any projects that will need to be submitted or would like to be considered for the Transportation Alternatives and Revenue Sharing cycle. As you all know, that happens on the off years from Smart Scale, and these are the, like Revenue Sharing's 50-50 match, Transportation Alternatives is 80-20 match. So those projects would be discussed at that meeting. Invitations should have went out today to local planning staff. And then the biggest thing on that is if there's going to be any request from VDOT for aid in budgeting or just generally getting the applications together, that we receive that request by November the 1st. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Thornton? Mr. McConnell?
Mr. I do have a question for Mr.
Make sure you use your mic.
I do have a question for Mr. Thornton. Recently, Kentucky Springs Road was repaved, sections of it. I was under the impression we were going to get more of Kentucky Springs Road paved, but maybe that was the wrong impression. And lastly, are we getting rumble strips in Kentucky Springs Road? Because it looks like the lines that were just painted on Kentucky Springs Road have now been, I don't know what you'd call it, they've been milled, it looks like, for maybe rumble strips.
Yes, so they had installed temporary pavement markings, so they will mill those out and they'll put inlaid pavement markers in the areas that were designated, then put the center line rumble strips in, and then resurface them with permanent markings. There is another section to the south east on 652 that is slated to be paved. That'll be next year. in the next round of paving. So we basically paved as much as we could, moved a bunch of projects forward, but we paved what we could with the funding we had for this pavement cycle.
Understood, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Just, yes.
No, when did you get a chance? I just have a question.
Do you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Route 15, I see coming into, out of Gordonsville and other areas, it says road work the next 11 miles. Is that anticipation of the Route 15 project, a maintenance project starting? Do you have a timeline yet? I know it was supposed to have started in June. Is it going to start anytime soon?
I believe they're planning on starting in November, but
Okay.
I will confirm that and shoot you an email back.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, and I need to talk to you too. I'll give you a call too about a subdivision in my area.
A quick question, follow up to Mr. Mercado's question. So I heard you talk about rumble strips, and I saw where they'd milled that out. I was down in Kentucky Springs the other day, but, so you and I had talked one time, there's two versions. Rumble strips, which aren't as loud, and all the neighbors can hear them for hundreds of yards around, or what you call mumble strips, which more impact the driver of the vehicle and don't impact the neighborhood. Which one are, because I think, if
I'll
I
double
remember
check,
right-
but they should have been putting the mumble strips in on this particular contract.
Okay.
But I'll double check and verify. that.
Good, good.
Mumble strips are much better.
Yeah, they don't, they still get the driver's attention, but they don't disrupt the neighborhood. There is one small section of the county road I'd like to keep rumble strips in, but I'll
That's in
talk
front
to
of
you about-
Willie's house.
That would be in front of Willie's house. Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Next is a presentation by Shannon Wright with an update with Region 10.
Actually, Shannon Wright and Lisa Bites. Hi. Good
So
evening.
when there are two, I just always make sure, because we're recording everything, and we live stream the meeting, just make sure you're using a microphone. It picks up much better.
I'm Lisa Bites, and this is Shannon Wright. We're with Region 10. We appreciate the opportunity to come talk with you tonight. We don't have any requests of you this evening. Our goal tonight is just to come in the middle of our fiscal year to talk about the good works we've done in Louisa and the advancement in the partnership in general areas and also through our opioid abatement authority funds. And so with that, I will hand it to Shannon to start us. I think you have the remote.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. So we'll start with just some general information about the services we provided to Louisa residents over fiscal year '24. So last fiscal year, we provided services to 1,080 individuals. 664 of them were adults, 416 children and adolescents, and that represents 16% of the folks served by Region 10 as a whole, our whole catchment area. And then just provided some information about the primary mental health diagnoses that we saw last year in Louisa, being depressive disorders, anxiety disorders, and adjustment disorders in that order. The primary substance use disorders that we saw last year were alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine or crack cocaine. And then to highlight, because of the work around the OAA settlement projects, we saw 63 people with their primary substance use disorder being opioid or heroin use disorder. In addition to that, we saw 64 folks who had an opioid use disorder somewhere on their sort of problem list, so to speak. So, about 130 folks with opioid use disorders last year.
The 64, that people that have had them in the past?
If it's still, it's still current, but you sort of rank by primary, secondary, or tertiary.
But they're not
substance.
struggling with it right now, they just had it in the past.
It could be either, if it's still in
What's
the
the
active.
what's the difference between that and the 63?
The 63 means that that's their primary, their substance of choice. Their primary substance of choice would be opioid use disorders. Or opioids or heroin.
Okay, thank you.
And so then highlighting where we are with the individual project for OAA with Louisa County. Although we weren't able to hire the clinician that was funded by that project last year, we were able to do some really good work and achieve the outcomes that we set as part of the project with Louisa County. 136 adults were engaged in therapeutic counseling services last year. 505 Louisa residents were engaged in harm reduction efforts through the year. We distributed 109 naloxone kits, and 100 fentanyl test strips to Louisa County residents over the past year. And those, so that's a mix of both services, but then also prevention efforts that are happening through a variety of staff at Region 10, including our prevention team that will do some work and trainings, community events in Louisa.
You'll remember that we stood before you this time last year and talked about that position that we've recruited since that time. And even with only recently filling it, feel positively about our efforts in connecting harm reduction kits and community outreach and prevention efforts through OAA until the person could be in place. We also last year, approached Louisa County asking if you all would sign a cooperative agreement in connection with the other localities that Region 10 serves to do two things through the state opioid abatement authority funding. We asked if you would sign on to support expansion of our crisis receiving center, which is a center on location at Old Lynchburg Road that receives people who are experiencing a psychiatric emergency. There can be transfer of custody so that someone who's under an emergency custody order can be evaluated. They can also receive up to 23 hours worth of services to help divert from inpatient. $1,800 last year total. And then we have our community outreach component that you all supported.
Could you explain that to me?
Sure.
What dropped 20%?
The people that needed to go to the hospital. So what happens when somebody's in crisis is they come in and we look for their supports, imminent risk, alternatives in terms of services to having someone go inpatient. And with
Get inpatient and get the evaluation.
The evaluation determines whether they go inpatient.
I'm saying, but if there wasn't an evaluation, they would just go inpatient, they would evaluate them in the hospital. Is that what was down 20%? I'm trying to figure out what would drop 20% and why.
Hospitalizations dropped
Hospitalization.
20%.
Because 20% of people didn't need to go?
Because we were able to either support them through our crisis receiving center or
Okay.
divert them to other community-based services.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Yep, I just didn't understand, wasn't clear.
Yeah, I appreciate it. The second piece is our community outreach piece. And what we did through it with our OAA funds is we hired an outreach peer. And what she does is come into all of the localities that we serve, and she offers harm reduction kits. And she does that in the community. So she may do that at the Exxon station. You'll find her at the Food Lion. She is all the places that the community has let her know are places she can hand out harm reduction kits with little stigma, and she can have informal conversation about connection to services and how to stay safe. And so in Louisa last year, she handed out, in addition to what Shannon reported that we handed out at the clinic, 400 harm reduction kits in Louisa County.
What's in a harm reduction kit?
ask that.
Narcan,
Fentanyl test strips.
yep,
Information about services.
Use the mic,
Mike?
ma'am. Use the mic.
Oh, sorry. Yes, fentanyl test strips.
So they can test their drug to see if it's got fentanyl in it before they use it?
Correct. And medication
saves their
disposal
life.
kits,
Oh, my goodness.
and the Narcan.
Okay.
And information about connecting to services as well.
The reason the fentanyl test strips are important is because people are overdosing and dying on fentanyl at an extremely high rate, and it's because people are ingesting fentanyl without knowing it. They may be using a different drug, and fentanyl has been put in it, and people are dying. And so we need to prevent drug use, we need to treat drug use, and we need to be clear that we need to have folks not die while we try to engage them in services so they stop using drugs. And so that's why the fentanyl test strips are important.
Your question, do you have any idea? It's funny, we just had this conversation
Sure.
with some friends of ours about the deadliness of fentanyl. Do you have any idea of the amount, and I know it's illicit drugs, so it's hard to track that, right? People don't go, well, mine tested bad. But what percentage of fentanyl-laced street drugs are we seeing in the county? Because I know Narcan now that the health department provides it, sheriff's department provides it, they have it in the schools. So obviously there's an increase, but how big of an increase are we seeing?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but we can find out what is known and share it back. Or in Louisa. I'm making myself a note.
No, that's fine.
Thank you. The other piece that our OAA peer for community outreach tracks is how many folks she sees more than once. And so people in Louisa, of all the 6 localities we serve, it's highest in Louisa, that we have people coming back for additional kits. And she's building relationships with folks, and that's positive because people are either using them and needing more, or they're giving them to loved ones, or they're stocking them in places where they have access to keep themselves and others safe. And so she has made individual contacts with over 75 people last year, and she has seen that people from across all walks of life. There is no one picture of someone who she comes into contact with who's struggling with a substance use disorder or who is willing to come and ask for a harm reduction kit so that they can keep themselves or others safe. And I just want to be clear about that piece. She relies on the informal communication and word of mouth, which it reduces barriers because what she's learned is that people begin to trust her and they'll say, you can go see this person, and I know she'll be at the Food Lion on this day. And so the word of mouth is spreading much more quickly than a formal structure or even coming into a building. And we learned that in August, in 1 week, there were 5 overdoses, and all 5 were mitigated with Narcan, and all those Narcan kits came from our outreach pier.
Wow.
And I think that's significant. So that's where we are with the cooperative agreement. You may remember we didn't ask anything of you but your support on paper, and that remains. The Opioid Abatement Authority approved us initially with your support. They approved us for a second year with your support. Their rules keep changing, and we will keep you informed about what comes for the 3rd year. Okay, well, so I put a picture for you of our Louisa Clinic up on the overhead, but it's not that you can't look out your window and see the construction in progress. Our Louisa Clinic is well underway. It's due to be complete in June of this next year. We will invite you all to come see it when it's done. We complete it, and we will do some landscaping to show our respect and honoring Louisa County, and also to show that we are a permanent support for the locality and the citizens who live in Louisa. We're excited about the building. We hope that you are too. We will move Friendly Oaks to that building. So Friendly Oaks remains open, and we continue to provide services there. Between now and June, we will put that building where they are in Mineral on the market. And we will have some conversation with you all, and we will move that program into the ground floor of the new building next door. And so I wanted to let you all know that first, and to continue to talk about it as things come up. Is all for us. What questions can we answer?
Mr. Williams?
Did you say you have hired someone for our mental health professional in Louisa?
Yes.
And that's they're full-time here in Louisa,
Yes.
serving Louisa
Yes.
full-time? And
Yes.
when did you get them hired?
August. So
Good.
last month. Yes.
When do you expect them to be in place and working?
Oh, she is. We actually we saw her
Oh, good.
before we came
Okay.
over. Yes.
I couldn't tell if they were still training or something, but okay.
She's still getting oriented. I think this is just her.
She started
Second.
August 28th.
Thank you. Yeah. So she's brand new, but
She's like 2 weeks in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we do have one.
yes.
Good.
Very
Thank you.
exciting. Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
I think, I don't know if this falls under you all or not, but one of my biggest concerns, and I've been shouting this loud since the school started, is getting those crisis counselors back into our schools. Our staff really needs them. And I know you're working on that,
Yes.
but many of what you see, I see a lot. And I thank you for the work you're doing, and you are right. It crosses all socioeconomics and walks of life. It is not just one demographic that is affected by fentanyl and these drugs. Unfortunately, it is prevalent in our community. So thank you for the work you're doing. I just hope that we can, and I know you are working on filling those positions, that we get them in place in our school system again.
Absolutely.
Mr. McCarty?
Sure. I would like to thank you on behalf of, I guess, all the people that have some mental health issues in the county that don't know where to turn for, I guess, a free clinic, essentially. I recently encountered somebody like that in my everyday life, and I didn't know where to turn, so I called over to Region 10 and got the information for that person, and I'm hoping that that person will take that step or meet one of your people in the community. So I think it's important what you're doing. Thank you.
Anybody else? I have two things. Number one, thank you for the update on Friendly Oaks. Friendly Oaks is very, very important to me. So I'm glad that even though it's actually, I'm not even going to say it's being moved, it's being upgraded because it's a much nicer facility. So that's great. And I did want to echo Mrs. Jones because I pulled it up that at the schools, at least as of last week, both crisis counselor positions are vacant.
Yep.
and only one of the 2 mental health counselors' positions are filled.
Yep.
And I've been a member of the Safe Schools Task Force since it started, and I'm not going to flip through my notes, but one of the most disturbing things that's come out of that to me is the amount of mental health crisis that our school children face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just high school. It's actually a bigger block in middle school. And you see it
Elementary school, too.
in the elementary schools. So just like drug addiction, which just cuts across all social economic demographics, mental health crisis cuts across all age groups. And really, to me, it is extremely important, as I'm sure it is to everybody up here, that we provide those services to our children when they're in the schools, when they feel that they're in a safe environment. And I know you're working on that, so this is not a criticism. It's just you're here, and I wanted to say that out loud, and I'll echo Mrs. Jones said it too. But
very
those
important.
positions are so critical to the mental health of our children. They have so many things. You know, if I could get rid of one thing from a technology standpoint, it'd be this. It would be this.
I don't
Because-
know if it's just that causing the mental health issues in our schools right
Pardon?
now. I don't know if it's just phones causing
No,
that.
but I think it's social media. I think it's the pressure that kids are under. I think it's the time they spend, I'm not saying in our school. I'm talking about in society. You know, I'm going to get on a soapbox in a minute. I'll get off of it really quick. But children have been bullied since the beginning of time. But when I was young, it ended at 3:30 when you got off the bus. It ended on the weekends because you were at home. It ended in the summertime because you weren't at school. But with these, people can come into their house 24/7, 365, things that they have access to. That's a big challenge. And that's a big challenge here. It's a big challenge everywhere. But I do know that Louisa County, both the school board and the county government in cooperation are trying to address those things, working and partnering with you. And I'm appreciative of that, but I did want to, while I had you here, point out that those positions are vacant. And it's a challenge. It's one of the most disturbing things that I've dealt with since I've been on the board, to see the impact of mental health challenges to our young people today. So.
I think a lot of it comes from the families too. Their mental health challenges are passed down from the families, and I see that on a daily basis in the schools, and it's challenging. So, and I know our staff at the school, our counseling staff, are really missing those positions. But I know you guys are doing all you can to fill them, and it's hard to fill when you don't have the quality that it coming in. So.
We share it as a priority and as a value in terms of a priority for our young people, and a value that reaching children and families at school, at home, in the community, anywhere we can, and being ready and available in response is very important. So I think we would say thank you for being clear about how you all value it, and know that we are working on it and will continue.
Well, and the other thing I would like to thank you is for coming outside of budget season to give us an update of how you're spending our taxpayers' money. That's very important, and we all appreciate that very much. Thank you for what you do for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is a presentation by the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce, and I see Mrs. Clark here. Tracy.
Hey, good evening.
Our fabulous director.
What?
Our fabulous director.
Oh, thanks, that's sweet. I'm gonna turn on my timer.
3 minutes.
I got mine on up here, too.
I know you do, but I like sound. Okay, so on your mark, it said go. Good evening. Thank you, everybody. I'm Tracy Clark. I'm the Executive Director for the Louisa County Chamber of Commerce and the Louisa Forward Foundation. And I'm here tonight to just share a little bit of update about what's going on with the Chamber and the Foundation. Our mission is to strengthen and enhance the local business environment. We represent the interest of our members, and we foster balanced growth throughout our region. Simply put, business is our priority. Our board is structured around 5 strategic committees, the first of which is our Organizational Management Committee. They're comprised of our executive leadership, which consists of our Secretary, Scott Jeffries, our Treasurer, John Pope, our Vice Chair, Melanie Baker, and our Chair, Casey Hollins. Sorry, I'm flipping and flipping. I also want to acknowledge our partners in progress. These are those businesses that support us every year. They're critical to being able to provide the programs and events that we offer to our business community and our community at large. Our next committee is our Member and Partner Services Committee. This is the group that really focuses on our educational, our connection, and our visibility activities and events for our business community. Things like our business booth, which is monthly, our business bites meetings, which are educational lunches, women in business, ribbon cuttings, and also the occasional forums when we need to talk about critical meetings and events like meet the candidates and so forth. Our signature events, those are our premier annual events. They typically draw larger numbers of people and they draw media attention to those programs. Our annual Mistletoe Mixer, that's all about the fun, bringing people together. Our Louisa Biz Expo just happened last week. It was the 5th anniversary. Huge success with networking and engagement. And then our annual Business Person of the Year, that's the premier event of the year. It's also our annual meeting. And in 2025, we'll actually be celebrating the 40th anniversary of our Business Person of the Year. So it's going to be a significant year. I also want to congratulate Bo Bundrick, who is our 2024 Business Person of the Year. He is the Director of Career and Technical Education at Louisa County Public Schools. I did provide a program from our Business Person of the Year that you're welcome to look through, and there's a number of other recognition and accomplishments that we included in there for you to look through. The last two signature events that we offer are actually golf, so if there's any golfers. Our Chamber Challenge has been going on for over 15 years. That funds our scholarship for a graduating high school senior. And then we added a Spring Swing Invitational this year, which allows us to do another scholarship for someone that's graduating to go on to Piedmont, Virginia Community College. And additional funds from that are supporting our workforce development efforts that we're doing. Our Chamber Challenge also supports our new office. As a chamber that's over 95 years old, we did purchase our own office. Finally, we have a permanent location on Main Street. And for 4 months, we worked on the renovation of an old property, and it's amazing. And I'm so grateful for the many contributions of our donors as well as volunteers and the leadership on our team that worked on this project, including the CTE program. So please come by if you haven't seen the renovation of our office. Come see it. I also want to talk about our Strategic Collaborations Committee. This committee focuses on the partnerships that we have both state, regional, and locally. Government, businesses, community organizations like the Virginia Chamber of Commerce, Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, Center for Nonprofit Excellence, the Department of Housing and Community Development, to name a few. Locally, of course, we work with the town of Mineral, the town of Louisa, Louisa Parks, Recreation, and Tourism, and of course, all of you as leaders of our county. You are all essential partners for collaborating for the support system that we need for our business community. We're grateful for all the support that you give to us. We're continuing to always look for opportunities to uplift and showcase our local business and community, whether it's through grants or award nominations and even forms of recognition. Our most recent that we're really excited about is last Thursday, Mike Cavros was recognized by the Virginia Restaurant, Lodging, and Travel Association as Restaurateur of the Year. And so I know that he's got his big 7th anniversary luau going on Wednesday, but we're really excited to see that kind of recognition, not only for a local business owner, but for our county as well. Now I'm going to shift to our foundation, which was formed in 2020. It's a 501c3 foundation that we formed to support the economic, educational, and community development projects that are led by the Chamber of Commerce. By creating this foundation, we've been able to double our budget and our impact on the community at large, especially our businesses, has been significant. Some of the programs that I'm going to run through, this is our final committee, which is our impact programs. Most immediately, we engaged in a relationship with the Virginia Main Street program as a Explore Main Street community for the town of Louisa. That's in partnership with the town. I've provided reports for them before, but this is just some of the statistics of what's been happening. The most significant project under that Main Street program has been our Charge Up Louisa. That went live in June of this year. It's a significant step towards sustainability and economic growth for the town of Louisa and our county. REC is the true champion for this initiative. They invested nearly $85,000 in the project at no cost to the town, the chamber, or the county. This project supports the growing number of EV drivers and aligns with the broader mission of bringing in visitors and bolstering the local economy. Last year, we also launched the Louisa Impact Awards, which many of you were able to participate in. This is a recognition program for our nonprofit organization and volunteers in the community. Currently, right now, nominations are open for the second year. Nonprofit of the Year and Impact Program of the Year. Any 501c3 organization serving Louisa, like Region 10, can be nominated for either one of these awards. Anyone can submit a nomination. The third category is the Community Partner Honor Roll, and this is reserved for organizations to submit who they would like to recognize and honor as a partner to them. It could be a staff person, a volunteer, a business, a fellow organization that strongly supports them with their mission and their goals. We are extending that nomination period through September 23rd, so we do encourage people to submit nominations and recognize those doing good work. We will have the awards lunch as part of our nonprofit summit, as we've done in the past. Our summit is going into its 6th year. This continues to be a valuable resource for our organizations and getting them the training and the resources and education that they need to continue to do the job that they are doing serving the community. Our Leadership Louisa program is probably one of our greatest. We're really excited about the growth of this program. This is opening for the 4th cohort in October, and applications, you do have to apply. Participants develop crucial leadership skills through a value-based program from Interwill. Oh, shucks, I didn't make it. I'll keep going. Leadership skills through value-based. They explore various businesses, they learn from local leaders, and they engage in a community action project. Here's some of the statistics about the past 3 years, the impact that we've had. And going into our 4th year, we did receive a grant from AWS. So the significant thing is we will be offering 5 scholarships this year for businesses. So we're really excited about the growth that we're having with the Leadership Louisa program, and we do encourage you to help us reach more businesses and getting them involved. And finally, I'm going to end with very exciting news. If you have not heard, God bless Doug Straley came to me one morning and said, I need you on a phone call, and introduced us to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce national program called the National Civics Bee, which is a program, basically a program in a box by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. They had not made their way into Virginia yet, but Doug, because of some of his responsibilities, brought it to Louisa, and I'm excited to say that we did step up to become the second in Virginia, the second chamber to engage in this partnership with the U.S. Chamber alongside of the school system. They have added this to their 8th grade curriculum. So currently, right now, all 8th grade students are engaged in the essay and learning about civics. This program is based on the model of a spelling bee. The first level of engagement is an essay contest. The winners of that compete locally, then at the state level and nationally, and there are cash prizes at every level. So we're really excited about the partnership of that, and I would just like to wrap this up that as the county continues to grow and prosper, we as the chamber want to continue to be a strong partner with this growth, and we appreciate the work that you are doing. Business is the priority here. It supports everything that we're doing, and we want to continue to be side by side with you guys and supporting that and continue to move Louisa County forward. So thank you very much.
You, Tracy, anybody have any comment?
Mr. Chairman, I've got just a comment. Being a long-time Chamber of Commerce member through my business and being on the board of the Chamber for a number of years back in the late 80s through the 90s, and a lot of ups and downs, we are so fortunate to have you, Tracy.
Oh, thank you.
You have brought the Chamber in Louisa County up to a level that none of us back at that time could have ever dreamed of. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't do it alone. We've got a lot of people that contribute to this. So thank you very much.
You're the leader.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. And I'll echo that. And I was also going to thank you for bringing up Calliope's award. That was a big honor for Louisa County. We'll point out that restaurant's located in the Mineral District, but not that has anything. But I do want to echo something. I had the opportunity to speak to your Leadership Louisa class, and how many was that? 20?
It was 16 graduates this
16
year.
graduates. You've done it for 4 years. I know you just said
3 years.
3 years.
We're going
It's
into
fourth
our-
year. Your applications are open, but I think maybe that's one of the most important aspects of what the Chamber does is raising up the next generation of business leaders in this county. And I know you were very instrumental, a lot of folks, but again, you're the director in doing that. And that's having a huge impact on the business community in Louisa County. So you have done tremendous work. And
Thank you. Thank you. And I do want to share, just because you mentioned that, I did run into one of our first class, one of the graduates, and he shared with me the advancement that he's had professionally. And I'm just so excited to share. We're going to share his story because it touches on everything within this community. It touches on someone that was struggling, that entered the program and has just thrived professionally. And it's pretty exciting. I was really excited to hear about that progress. And that's what we want to continue to see with these cohorts and the leaders that we're producing. So
thank you for what you
yeah.
do for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Under new business action items, the first item is a resolution authorizing the Department of Fire and EMS to implement Pulse Point software. Is that Mr. Colvin, or Mrs. Colvin, or Mr. Goodwin? It's got
I'll
both.
take care of this one,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. This resolution is included in your packet on packet page 434. As is detailed in the resolution, what's contemplated here is a 2-year trial period. For this, the year one costs would be funded about $8,000 from the station, with the county picking up a little over $5,500 for the connection needs to the existing dispatch system. Year two, the total cost of $8,315 would be borne by the county. The packet does include letters of support from the Management Oversight Group and the county's operational medical director, both supporting the software package. The county would propose to work with Louisa Volunteer Rescue Station to promote the system, and certainly we want to acknowledge, I think we've got some of Louisa Rescue's membership here with us tonight. Good opportunity to say thanks to them. I'd like to put out a press release tomorrow that would express our gratitude and involve them in that press release as well. We think this is going to be a great product, thanks to their leadership and their efforts. That will involve people in saving more lives in Louisa County. So it's really got good opportunity. Staff would recommend that the board support this resolution.
Move we approve it.
Mr. Woodward.
Before I do that, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to give thanks to Louisa County Rescue Squad and their vision of seeing this Pulse Point program out there and seeing how it could come into Louisa County and help potentially any citizen and all citizens of Louisa County if they became in a time of need. And if it wasn't for their vision and bringing it forward, going to REC and getting a $10,000 grant, I mean, that's just amazing. So certainly everybody in the Louisa County Rescue Squad, we all know they serve a tremendous purpose do a great job here in the county as volunteers. That just doesn't happen very much anymore, so we certainly appreciate that. But to Chief Gary Morris and Dale Wallace and Suzanne Wallace, particularly a thank you for bringing this program to the county. And I can assure y'all, we will, as a board and a county, we are supporting the program 100%. So I just want to do that. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this.
For a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And we do have some folks here, so thank you very much for helping us bring that forward. Next is a resolution authorizing the Department of Fire and EMS to apply for a Rescue Squad Assistance Fund grant for the purchase of True Drug Box systems. And I guess it will be Mrs. Colvin, not your husband, right? So we'll have you do it.
Hey, yes. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. This is a request for Fire and EMS to apply for a grant to buy 2 additional drug box systems, one for the eastern end of the county and one for the western end of the county. Currently, y'all just approved us doing one central, but if we could get grant funding, this would help us add 2 more. It is a 50-50 match, so we're going to ask for $21,000 from the grant, and the match would be $21,000. And I can answer any questions you may have.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Any comment?
Could you
Yes,
just
ma'am.
explain what a drug box system is in general for
Absolutely.
the public?
Absolutely. So, and I may need your help with this one. So,
briefly.
currently, the hospitals swap out our drug boxes, which are the drugs they use on the ambulance. So that is changing, where we have to manage our own systems starting in November. Stop me if I'm wrong. Where we have to manage our own systems in November. We have to account for all of the drugs and keep them safe and locked up. And this is the system to help monitor it, the software, and all that good stuff.
Right.
Anything to add?
So it's necessary that we.
It is necessary.
They're actually the lockers that the drug boxes will be kept in. Unfortunately, the grant is awarded in January. The drug box system itself is going in November the 27th. When they opened up this grant, the dates didn't align. So the system that you all approved at the last board meeting will get us started. This is looking ahead to the future a little bit. It'll also help fund the medications for a year.
Okay.
And the change was necessitated, was it, I know the hospitals, but was it state code or the hospitals just changed their policy?
The hospitals actually pushed it and made the Board of Pharmacy change the whole code.
Yeah. So, okay.
They did not any longer want to do the one-for-one drug box. They did not want, basically, they really didn't want to be in charge of the narcotics that are used
Yeah.
out in the fields.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Do we have any committee reports? I don't believe we have any board appointments. Mr. County Administrator.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, just a couple items to bring to your attention. Several of you were present for the dedication of Mia's memorial area out behind the county office building. It was a wonderful ceremony. I thank those of you who could attend, and thank you all for your support. We got a lot of kind words and a lot of compliments, so that went really well. The 9/11 ceremony also went very well this week. Got a lot of compliments on that as well, and thank you to those of you who attended. My remodeling efforts, while it doesn't look like much when you're walking in the door, I apologize for that. It's going to be worth it in the end when the dust clears. So thank you for your support. That will allow that department to serve the citizens much better. My monthly report includes the department's monthly reports for the month of August, and I would draw your particular attention to the Department of Human Services and their efforts in foster care. They continue to do a great job in that regard. We've got 21 total children in foster care right now, and none of them in foster care for more than 24 months, and 7 of those are less than 12 months. So those are good. We need to keep up that good work, and we do need more foster families in the county. So if you know of folks who would be willing and able foster parents, please put them in touch with us so that we can align them with those in need. Also today I completed the application for Louisa Clean's fall big cleanup effort. That'll be October the 19th and 20th. I think they are doing Bird Mill Road, Fredericks Hall Road and Bumpus Road all of the entirety of those stretches of road. So if you're interested or you know constituents who are interested in cleaning up roadways and they want to be connected with a good group, please get them in touch with Jody Corman and Carol DeZorzi. They're doing a great job. And so we look forward to that in October. A couple other dates. The Fall Festival for Parks, Recreation, and Tourism will be on October the 5th, and Household Hazardous Waste Day at the Solid Waste facility will be on October the 26th. That concludes my prepared remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Goodwin? Mr. Barnes?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
That was good word.
Got a little bit of a late start to it.